say. I've been feeling this way for far too long.
Alright, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for dropping back by. Today I want to talk about the Canon EOS R. Now, a long time ago I rented the EOS R in like early 2019, so which is, I guess it's kind of a trend. The EOS R came out in 2018, summer of 2018. About spring of 2019 I rented the EOS R and used it for a little bit. Summer of 2019 the 90D comes out. Spring of 2020 I rent the 90D, and it's kind of a trend going on. So what am I going to rent this year? Anyways, look, this is what's up, guys. I'm going to talk about the EOS R. I used the EOS R for a little while in 2019, a couple of times, and it was a great camera. A lot of people talked bad about the camera, and I could understand why they would be so upset about this camera. I still thought the camera was pretty good. Now, one thing I didn't do was film in 4K because the lens I had, which is the same lens I'm using right now, is the 24-105 f4 lens. Great lens, but if you're trying to vlog or doing anything else where you're holding the camera and pointing it in your face, it's not a great experience, and I'll tell you why. 4K 24 frames per second is cropped at 1.75. And let me say that again. The 4K 24 is cropped at 1.75 on the EOS R. So an APS-C camera, the sensor is cropped at 1.65. So the 4K was cropped bigger than their APS-C sensors. So that's why people were upset, because it didn't make sense to have such a massive crop on a mirrorless camera, their first mirrorless camera. They didn't jump into the mirrorless world with grave reviews. It was actually very disappointing. And then not only did they release this camera with a massive 4K crop, they gave it 120 frames per second, and it was in 720p and had no autofocus. You know, I can forgive you, Canon, for not having autofocus, but at least if you would have had it in 1080p, we would have been great. Or if you was gonna give us 720p, let's have autofocus. Like, come on, bruh. Like, don't take away both. Like, we want to shoot in 4K, right? We want to. Everybody's wanting to shoot in 4K, but you give us 720p. Like, what were you thinking? Is there not a firmware update or a patch update that can upgrade that 720 to 1080? Because I guarantee you, if y'all fix that and give us 1080, 120, the EOS R would become a banging mirrorless camera once again. And then it'll be kind of neck and neck between the R6 and the R. It'll be between, do you want dual SD card slots and iVisa? Or do you want one SD card slot and no iVisa? Do you want massively cropped 4K? Or do you want tiny bit cropped 4K? Just saying. But anyways, here's the deal. The EOS R had a 30.2 megapixel sensor, which is pretty good. It didn't really shoot photos very fast, but it was still pretty good. The pictures come out amazing. Unbelievably amazing photos come out of this camera. All the cameras I've shot with, even the R, I have not too much with the R5, but the R6, the 90D, the 80D, and the R, between these cameras, the R still has really good ass images and photos. I wouldn't do sports photography with it, but I would damn sure do portraits and headshots with this camera. It is dope. Hands down. But here's the thing, the 90D came out after the R, which the 90D has a 32.5 megapixel APS-C sensor that shoots in 4K with the full sensor, which means the crop isn't as massive as the R, and it still has really dope ass photos. But being that the R is full frame, it handles light way better than a 90D, so that's why the R still looks very amazing, even on an f4 lens. But there was also some pluses about the R at the time, because you can shoot in 10-bit external, 10-bit 422 external if you got an external recorder, but you can shoot C-Log internal at 8-bit, you know, as long as you had decent SD cards or whatnot. But yeah, but having C-Log in the first edition mirrorless body was a plus, and then being able to shoot 10-bit external, so you had the option of 10-bit, but it was external, which I guess we can't be mad at that. Then they came out with the RP and whatnot, which I don't really know much about the RP. Never used it. Don't know why I've never used it. Still questioning that to this day. Why did I never get a hold of the RP? Some of the things I filmed on the EOS R, I went out on the walking trail out in Arkansas, Fayetteville, Arkansas, and I filmed like trees. I took pictures, and I was still kind of learning the dynamics of DSLRs, mirrorless cameras, ISO exposure, shutter speed, and aperture, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of the videos didn't come out as great as I wanted to, but within months of consistently tapping into this source and learning the EOS R and the ADD and stuff like that, I learned how to expose a little bit better. So when I went out in the sun, you know, my colors looked better, you know, over time. And then sometimes I would try to color grade, and I would bleed the colors, and it was awful. It was awful. If you wanted to film in 4K, you had to get either the 16 to 35 f1.8 Sigma lens, which works wonders on the R for that crop, or you had to go with the 16 to 35 f2.8, which works wonders once again on that crop. So you didn't get wide angle like 16 wide like you wanted to when shooting in 4K, but you did get wide like as if you were shooting on the APS-C body wide. Or you could always go with the 10 to 18 millimeter EFS lens and widen it up a little bit. Then it looks like a 17 to 40 millimeter focal length. So anyways, oh sorry, I was checking my email. Yeah, gotta keep up with your responsibilities. Yeller. All right. You know, I think I need a really good pat on the back. It's not funny. I did a good job on this video. Oh, yes. Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for dropping by, and I will see you in the next one.
Finally don't get no fuss. Finally be riding on my way. Finally woke up with some luck in the book. I don't give a what someone say. Finally got my friends in the back on my roller. We gon' make it big one day. We gon' make it big, I say. We gon' make it big, just stay in there.